Who are the 10 greatest mid-season F1 driver swaps of the 21st century? Let's find out. In the high-pressure world of Formula One, any change of driver is a fine line of risk and reward. A change of driver can make or break a season or even a career. While some become a failed roll of the dice, others can provide a springboard to a driver's F1 career. Liam Lawson has reaped the rewards of a successful stint at AlphaTauri, which has seen his stock rise in a fickle driver market. Well, whilst Lawson's time substituting for Danny Ricciardo at AlphaTauri is over, how do you think his time compares to his 21st century predecessors? Now, for this top 10, we have looked for all the mid-season driver changes, including one-offs for substitute appearances, which have happened for a variety of reasons. Much like our last list, this includes injury, sponsorships, and driver unavailability. We have also leaned towards driver swaps which have featured the biggest racing moments or results, rather than a simple driver upgrade. So, for example, Danny Ric replacing Narayan Karthikeyan at Hispania Racing Team was a clear improvement, anything would have been, but the car was insufficient to challenge for any noteworthy results. With the ground rules laid out, here are our top 10 greatest mid-season driver swaps of the 21st century. But first, honourable mentions: Wirtz for Montoya, McLaren 05, Ricciardo for Karthikeyan, HRT 11, Ocon for Haryanto, Manor 16, Sainz for Palmer, Renault 17. And in at number 10, we start with Winkle for Albers, Spiker 07. With regular driver Christian Albers dropped to the back of the grid Spiker team due to failed sponsor payments, there was an unlikely debut for Markus Winkelhock at the European Grand Prix. The German had a respectable but not spectacular junior driver record and was not widely tipped to be in Formula One long. In fact, his career lasted one memorable Grand Prix. Whilst his raw pace wasn't turning heads, Winkelhock and the Spiker team teased one of the biggest underdog stories of recent years. Gambling on rain hitting the Nürburgring circuit hard, Winkelhock pitted on the formation lap for wet tyres, which vaulted him from last to first by over half a minute. Unfortunately, red flags wiped out this unlikeliest of leads, but had the rain not fallen with the level of ferociousness that it did, we might have ended up recognising one of Formula One's most unlikely point scorers. If only. Next, at number 9, Della Rosa for Montoya, McLaren 06. With Juan Pablo Montoya's ties to the McLaren team cut in dramatic fashion after the US Grand Prix, the Woking team turned to their long-time test driver to fill the seat until further notice, which turned out to be until the end of the season. With the team having a difficult year in which hotshot teammate Kimi Raikkonen didn't even win a race, there wasn't a heap of pressure on Della Rosa to be challenging for podiums at every race. Having driven a variety of cars and performed stand-in duties before, Della Rosa performed admirably despite not having the outright pace of Raikkonen. His career highlight came in an impressive race at the Hungarian Grand Prix where he tackled the tricky wet conditions to take a career best second place. Numerous points finishes meant he actually had a similar point per race ratio to Montoya. He lost out on an outside chance of a 2007 drive to a rookie called Lewis Hamilton. I wonder what happened to him. At number 8, Vandoorne for Alonso, McLaren 16. After Fernando Alonso had spectacularly crashed out of the previous race in Australia, the two-time world champion was sidelined for the following round in Bahrain. As a result, development driver and 2015 GP2 champion Stoffel Vandoorne was called up for the second seat alongside Jenson Button. As one of the brightest talents to emerge from the feeder series, there was frustration that he was unable to find a seat in Formula One for 2016. Therefore, this one-off race was a great chance to add to that outcry. He duly outqualified world champion teammate Jenson Button in his first qualifying session. He was passed on the opening lap by Button, but raced competently to take a point on his debut in a McLaren that wasn't a guaranteed points finisher. Do you remember that when McLaren was at the back of the grid? An all-time great comes in at number 7, Vettel for Kubica, BMW 07. With Robert Kubica sidelined due to a scary crash at the Canadian Grand Prix, BMW promoted test driver Sebastian Vettel to fill the seat for the following United States GP. Qualifying close to experienced teammate Nick Heidfeld, Vettel recovered from an off-track moment at Turn 1 to claim a point on debut, which caught the attention of future employers within Red Bull. Whilst he wasn't the youngest driver to start a Grand Prix, at the time Vettel became the youngest driver to score a Formula One point. His record has since been beaten by Daniel Kvyat, Max Verstappen, Lance Stroll and Lando Norris, but it was nevertheless a remarkable effort for an emerging talent. And there was plenty more to come from Seb as the years went on. Next at number 6, Kobayashi for Glock, Toyota 09. Given that Kamui Kobayashi didn't have a stellar GP2 record to talk about, he wasn't an obvious contender for a Formula One drive. The Toyota Junior was handled his debut in the Brazilian Grand Prix after Timo Glock was injured in a crash at Suzuka. Whilst he wasn't on the pace of temporary teammate Jarno Trulli at the first race, the Japanese driver certainly made an impact. Despite a collision with countryman Kazuki Nakajima, his fearless racing style won admirers and ruffled the feathers of champion-elect Jenson Button. Kobayashi was retained for the season finale in Abu Dhabi and raced to a P6 ahead of Trulli, a performance which has helped secure a race seat at Sauber in 2010. Alright, into our top 5 now. De Vries for Albon, Williams 22. How things change in 12 months. The 2019 Formula 2 champion Nick De Vries finally earned a chance at a Formula 1 drive when he was brought in to replace the unwell Alex Albon at the Italian GP. A strong drive to P9 equalled Williams' best race results of the season, and it was the Dutchman that did everything well to be on the radars for 2023. However, having signed for AlphaTauri for 2023, De Vries was unable to match teammate Yuki Tsunoda's pace, and he lost his seat after just 10 races. Maybe a little bit savage, but quick Nick, he was not. Another mention for Vettel at number 4. Vettel for speed, Toro Rosso 07. With Red Bull already forging a cutthroat reputation with their approach to driver development, Sebastian Vettel would turn out to be the first genuine race-winning prospect. Having impressed earlier in 07 with his standing performance at BMW, Vettel earned the call to replace Scott Speed, who wasn't living up to his name. A tough year for the Toro Rosso team allowed Vettel to bed himself in without too much spotlight, but he began to shine towards the end of the year. A stellar drive at Fuji was ended by a collision with future teammate Mark Webber, but he made amends with an impressive drive to P4 at the following Chinese Grand Prix. I wonder if that's where Webber got his attitude from. To start our top 3, Kubica for Villeneuve, BMW 06. The stock of 97 world champion Jacques Villeneuve was at its lowest in 06, and after being outscored by teammate Nick Heidfeld in the first 12 races of the season, he and BMW parted ways. Junior driver hotshot Robert Kubica was drafted in to fill the seat and made an immediate impression on the grid. Out-qualifying Heidfeld in his debut, Kubica was unlucky to be disqualified from a point-scoring finish at his first race at the Hungarian Grand Prix. However, he would soon trump this with a brilliant drive at Monza, where he claimed 3rd place in only his 3rd Grand Prix. It proved to be the springboard for a promising career, which unfortunately cut short due to a pre-season crash in 2011. Kubica, though, is still an all-time favourite in Formula 1. Alright, a big one in at number 2, Russell for Hamilton, Mercedes 20. During the pandemic-affected 2020 season, a positive COVID test resulted in 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton missing the penultimate race of the condensed season. Mercedes turned to then junior driver George Russell to partner Valtteri Bottas for a one-off Sakir Grand Prix. Presented with his first race-winning opportunity in Formula 1, Russell was narrowly edged to pole position by his experienced teammate, but strong-armed his way into an early lead of the race. However, the Briton was undone by a tyre mix-up and a puncture, which meant he only ended up in P9 and the fastest lap to show for his efforts. It was a remarkable first race with Mercedes' team that deserved a much better result. Pretty suspect if you ask me. And at number 1, much like most things he does at the moment, Verstappen for Kvyat, Red Bull Racing 16. The dominant Dutchman takes top spot with his jaw-dropping promotion from Toro Rosso to Red Bull early in the 2016 season. As such, Verstappen is the only driver of the 21st century to win a Grand Prix after switching teams partway through a season. Another record. After impressing at Red Bull Junior outfit in 15, Verstappen was elevated to the main team after just 4 races of 16, replacing the under-fire Daniel Kvyat. The then 18-year-old remarkably won his first race of his Formula 1 Red Bull career and immediately started to pile the pressure on established number 1 driver Daniel Ricciardo. Further impressive performances in 2016 followed, including a dazzling wet weather drive at the Brazilian Grand Prix. The rest, as they say, is history. Just don't remind Daniel Kvyat what Max did in his car. Those were the top 10 best driver changes in F1 of the 21st century. Which one stands out for you? Should Liam Lawson be on the list? Can you see another successful swap coming soon? Let us know in the comments, and as always, remember to like, comment, share and subscribe. Keep the pedal to the metal, and I'll catch you in the next video.